$10. Okay, Josh said if anybody touches that little screen, they'll automatically come down.
Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats and silence all electronic devices. Also, please maintain a distance of 6 feet and keep your mask placed over your mouth and nose at all times. Our program will begin shortly. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2020 Community College of the Air Force graduation ceremony. I am Technical Sergeant Timothy Daly from the 45th Security Forces Squadron, and I will be your narrator for today's event.
I am Airman First Class Natalia Barrera from the 45th Security Forces Squadron. I will also be narrating today's event. Today marks a significant milestone in the lives of our graduates. They have sacrificed so much to make this day possible and will undoubtedly benefit from the results. Thank you for joining today's celebration.
Our presiding officer for today's ceremony is the Vice Commander, 45th Space Wing, Colonel Brandy Walton. The commencement address will be given by Pararescueman Team Lead, Senior Master Sergeant Brandon Godery.
Before we begin, we are pleased to welcome the Command Chief, 45th Space Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Scott King. The Vice Commander, 920th Rescue Wing, Colonel Ian Chase. The Command Chief, 920th Rescue Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Shane Smith.
We would also like to extend a special welcome to all commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, supervisors, and co-workers. During their course of studies, these graduates worked extremely hard, but they were not without support. We would like to recognize all of the spouses, significant others, and family members of today's graduates.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand to receive the Spring and Fall 2020 Community College of the Air Force graduates and remain standing for the arrival of the official party, the playing of the national anthem, and the invocation given by Chaplain Parker.
thank you for your many blessings, for life and liberty, for the country we live in, for the men and women of the United States Air Force and their families, and particularly these Community College of the Air Force graduates, their instructors, and the staff who made this graduation day a reality. You've asked us, O Lord, to love you with all our hearts, soul, strength, and mind. These graduates have endeavored to grow their minds and to expand their horizons through education. May the knowledge that they have gleaned through the process assist them in their continued journey of personal growth, in their service to their families, United States Air Force, and to this great country. Today we celebrate these graduates, and tomorrow is in their sights. So we ask your continued blessing to rest upon them. For the challenges that will definitely come, give them wisdom and creativity. For the difficulties, give strength and endurance. For the unknown, give peace and flexibility. For the victories, grace and humility. May they each learn that no matter what comes their way in the future, they can face it, knowing that you will take every step of the journey with them. Your blessings we ask for these graduates and for us all. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Parker. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Whenever we reach a milestone, we should all take a moment to reflect upon the journey that we have just completed before preparing for the next one. At this time, please join me in welcoming Senior Master Sergeant Brandon Dodery as he gives him the commencement address.
All right, thank you so much. In fact, can we put our hands together for all the people that made this happen, that make this ceremony happen? Thank you so much. Things are can be difficult, especially in the season we live in, so thank you for that. Also, thank you, Colonel Walton, Chief Smith, and everybody else who showed up here. I'd like to say a special thank you to the family members of the graduates. I understand it can be difficult to be a military spouse, and there is undoubtedly a lot of time that was spent preparing for this degree and that time away. So thank you so much from my heart to yours. I believe that our Air Force would not function without you, so thank you. So what I want to talk to you guys about today is a little different. You know, when we think of these commencement speeches, we think of accomplishment, and all of that stuff is great, but I want to talk to you about something a little bit different today, and I want to talk to you about the character of success. So 2020 has been quite the year, right? I mean, I started looking for quotes of 2020, and they were pretty much all negative. I mean, we've had, you know, the coronavirus, which has caused fear and anger and isolation. We've had stress with elections and a lot of tension that we're seeing. Also, work has ramped up. There's been, especially within the Space Wing here, we have seen human launches and a lot of other stuff. So you combine all that, and you could say 2020 has been quite the year. But I want to say a quote that I've kind of lived by when things ramp up like this, and I think the chaplain and probably several others would understand the origins of this quote, but it says, suffering produces endurance, endurance produces character, and character produces hope. So I want to take you on a little bit of a journey of who I am and who I was, and kind of who I am today and how I got there. So who am I? Brandon Doherty. I'm a poor boy that was from Florence, Arizona. I was the son of prison guards. We were very, very impoverished. In fact, I was one of those kids that used to draw Nike signs on my shoes to try to fit in, right? As some of you may relate there. I used to help my dad collect cans so that we could have enough money to actually go and eat. I was a middle child who always felt marginalized. My older brother was the star. Everything he did was right and everything I did was wrong. I used to actually take different ways to school. I was one of 5 kids of my color at my school. I used to take different ways to school to avoid getting beat up and bullied. My school was ranked 48 out of 50 in the state, and I personally graduated 57 out of 64. I was at the bottom of my class. My whole life I was told that I would never amount to anything. You know, the military, 9/11 hit, and that was actually my escape. It was my chance to actually stand up and to really kind of figure out who I really was. I know who I'd been told I was growing up, but I wanted to figure out who I actually was. So who am I today? I'll kind of fast forward a little bit, and then we'll talk about how I got there. I'm a very blessed man with an incredible family. I have a loving, beautiful wife, 2 incredible children who are beacons of light. I've had an amazing career as a U.S. Air Force pararescueman, 7 combat deployments. I've been all over the world, and some of the coolest experiences that you can have in the military. I now work for NASA, and I've had the honor of developing the TTPs to rescue humans out of the spacecraft. I literally get to take spaceships out in the middle of the ocean and train with them. So it was very personal to me to see these things actually launch. It's an incredible job, incredible honor. I'm only a few credits away from my 2nd master's degree, and I've been at the top of my class in every degree that I've achieved. So what was the change? You remember I started with suffering produces endurance, endurance produces character, and character produces hope. I'd like to briefly talk you through some of the lessons that I've learned to get me from that poor boy who was kind of mediocre at best to the person that I am today, and quite possibly motivate you to walk out of here with a few things that you can take and you can hang on to help get you through those hard times. In fact, I'm not worried about your success at all. You guys are here, you guys and gals are here because you are being honored. You guys are getting a degree. My fear is not that you're going to aim high and miss. My fear is actually that you're going to aim low and hit. You see, education actually has little to do with success. Education is used as a baseline in a lot of areas because character is much harder to credential. A good friend of mine used to tell me, said, Brandon, don't let your education interfere with your learning. What did he mean? He meant that your education is not the goal, your learning is. And there is no learning without failure. I'm going to talk to you about 4 points today that kind of help me get to where I am. So number 1, don't be afraid to fail. Where you came from doesn't determine where you're going. When I first went in to the Air Force recruiter and I asked him what a PJ was, he said, it's a really tough job that you likely won't get through. Luckily, I knew the taste of failure and I wasn't afraid of it. Can you imagine how much differently my life would have turned out if I would have let those words define me and if I would have actually been afraid and not jumped in? You know, Elon Musk has a saying. He says, failure is an option here. If things are not failing, then you are not innovating enough. Number 2, this is critical. See the good in others. During a scientific study, it was found that society experiences a phenomenon that we know is negative bias. We are actually twice as likely to notice the negative characteristics in people than we are to see the good characteristics. In fact, studies have shown that negative news is more likely to be perceived as truth. Since negative information draws greater attention, it may be seen as having greater validity. This might explain why we can't avoid negative news no matter how hard we try. We have to see the good in others and stop this cycle. I still remember the moment that got me through Indoc and reversed all the negative things that were said of me growing up. Week 4 of Indoc, we were doing this exercise called Ditch and Dawn. I was tired, I was cold, I was hungry, I was scared. And we do this exercise where we would take our fins or our mask and we'd swim all the way to the other side of the pool. And then we do a flip, go down to the bottom about 14 feet deep. And we take off our fins, we take off our mask, we take off our weight belt. And we had a way that we had to arrange it. It was a way that they would actually induce stress in us and make sure that we could have attention to detail and not freak out under pressure. Well, for whatever reason, I was the guy who, the second chlorine touched my eyes, I turned into like some mutant. I couldn't see anything. So no matter how hard I tried, I had to keep going. It got expeditionally harder every time you go to do it again. They would make you go back to the bottom, put it all back on, swim to the top. You're tired, now trying to gasp for air, and you'd have to do it again. Well, inevitably, I had to do this every single time, 3 times in a row before they would let me move on. I was starting to get pretty discouraged. And then I heard somebody I really looked up to, one of the sergeants there, Sergeant Keating. I still remember his name. He stood me up in front of the instructors, in front of the other students. He says, this guy right here, Doherty, Brandon Doherty has heart. Brandon Doherty has heart. You know, from that moment on, my demeanor changed. I was no longer a failure. I was no longer a mediocre at best child from a poor home. I was a man with heart. It was from that point on that I was going to do everything in my power to prove him right. So number 3, building character. Believing in myself became the rocket fuel to propel me through becoming a PJ and was likely the key to a lot of my early successes. But the problem with this thinking alone is if it's left unchecked, it will turn into pride. You know, the author C.S. Lewis says, "Pride gets no pleasure out of having something, only out of having more than the next man. It's a comparison that makes you proud. The pleasure of being above the rest. One of the elements of competition is gone, then pride is gone." It took some moral failures in Article 15 for me to question what my goals were. I had made it, I had started to gain success, but I had to figure out why. Was it being the best PJ? What was the goal in life? What was I trying to do? What did I view as success? Was I trying to be the best PJ? Was I just trying to be better than the other guys? Was it to impress the girls? Was it owning lots of things? Was it building a larger bank account? What was the point? Then it hit me. Building a better character. My change actually came from a faith awakening, but I vowed to surrender myself to those who also believed with me of putting others above myself. In fact, the Air Force has crafted an incredible character-building value system. We know it as our core values. Integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. If we can grab onto those and to truly live them, then undoubtedly we will build character. So number 4, produce hope. You got to be a hope dealer. Suffering produces endurance, endurance produces character, and character produces hope. How do we do that? Well, we also inspire others to do the same. We use our character to inspire others. We change the word I to the word we. We find the good in people, and we make it our life's mission to inspire and pull it out of them. Sometimes something as simple as seeing how hard somebody is trying or how much heart they have will cancel out years of negative feelings and will actually inspire them to do great things. So in closing, I want you to remember a few things. Remember that failure is necessary to the success, and remind others of this. Remember negative bias, what negative bias is, and that you can reverse this by reframing negative situations and inspiring others. Where you came from doesn't have to determine where you're going. You have the year 2020 printed on your CCAF degree. You know, many people say that 2020 was the worst year in our generation, but I say 2020 was a character-building year of our generation. It was the year that 11 airmen walked forward to receive their diploma, a year where these airmen made a decision to question what their purpose on this earth is, a year where these graduates not only stand their ground, but they actually take ground. 2020 is the year that I look around and I notice how much heart you guys have. 2020 is the year that we unleash 11 hope dealers into the USAF. May God bless you, your families, and our great nation in which we have the pleasure to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Senior Dotry. Now, Master Sergeant Erica Ronsky, the Space Coast Top 3 President, will come forward to present Senior Master Sergeant Dotry with a gift as a thank you for sharing his wisdom with us today.
Colonel Wong and Chief King, would you please come forward and present the diplomas? And now for the moment the graduates have been waiting for, the presentation of the diplomas. Graduates, prepare for the graduation. When your name is called, please come forward and receive your diploma.
For those in the audience, please feel free to applaud, but we ask that you remain seated to adhere to social distancing guidelines. From the 333rd Rescuing Squadron, receiving a degree in Human Resource Management, Tech Sergeant Luther Chase.
From the Air Force Technical Application Center, receiving a degree in Business Management, Staff Sergeant Chase Gish.
From the Air Force Technical Application Center, receiving a degree in Scientific Analysis Technology, Tech Sergeant David Holtz. From the 45th Security Forces Squadron, receiving a degree in Criminal Justice, Tech Sergeant Sean Jenkins.
From the 45th Medical Operational Readiness Squadron, receiving a degree in Pharmacy Technology, Staff Sergeant Leticia Perez.
From the 45th Space Wing Equal Opportunity Office, receiving a degree in Information Systems Technology, Staff Sergeant Jane Schenbacher. From the 920th Aeromedical Staging Squadron, receiving a degree in Practical Nursing Technology, Staff Sergeant Emmanuel Omani.
From the 45th Sports Support Squadron, receiving a degree in Human Resources Management, Technical Sergeant Christine Williamson.
From the 45th Space Wing Command Section, receiving a degree in Information Systems Technology, Technical Sergeant Christopher Wood.
Thank you, Chief King. Graduates, please remain standing while Colonel Wong confers your degrees.
As the Vice Commander, 45th Space Wing, I certify that the members of the 2020 Community College of the Air Force class have met the requirements for the Associate of Applied Science degree in accordance with Air University's accrediting body. By the authority of the Congress of the United States and in the name of Lieutenant General James B. Hecker, Commander, Air University, I do hereby confer upon you the degree of Associate of Applied Science. Congratulations to you all on a job well done. Let's give another round of applause.
Thank you, Colonel Walton. Graduates, please be seated. At each community college of the Air Force graduation, a small number of graduates are awarded the Pitzenbarger Grant in the amount of $500 to recognize their educational accomplishments.
The Pitzenbarger Award was named after Airman First Class William H. Pitzenbarger. Airman Pitzenbarger was a pararescue who was participated in more than 300 missions. He was killed in combat on 11 April 1966 near Cami in the Republic of Vietnam while rescue efforts, treating wounded comrades and resisting enemy forces. For his bravery and sacrifice, he was posthumously awarded the service's second highest military honor, the Air Force Cross. In December 2000, the award was upgraded to the Medal of Honor.
The Pitzenbarger Award provides a one-time grant of $500 to selected community college of the Air Force graduates who plan on or are pursuing a bachelor's degree. The grant this year has been funded by the Air Force Association.
Master Sergeant Ronsky will come forward to present the Pitzenbarger Award on behalf of the Air Force Association. The recipient of the Pitzenbarger Award goes to Staff Sergeant Chase Gish. Thank you. We will now have closing remarks from Colonel Walton.
Well, that was awesome. Let's give a round of applause to all the graduates. I just like starting it off with a round of applause. And I'll keep my remarks brief. Senior Master Sergeant Doherty, what an inspirational speech. I mean, the grit and determination, the inspiration to those sitting there. I'm not going to try to top that. So, I mean, I was pretty impressed by that. So, congratulations on that one. I'd like to start off by thanking the Education Center at Top 3 and Kaiser University for setting this up, and then those that were in charge of this ceremony. It seems like an easy feat, but there's a lot that goes into the ceremony, so let's give them a round of applause. And then to the friends, family, and supervisors, and those that are virtually online, I'm so excited to see a few family members out in the audience. Chief was mentioning it to me. We don't get to do that very often, where we can actually, in this COVID environment, bring family members in, but such a large auditorium, we were able to do so. So if you're a family member, please stand up and let's give you a round of applause. She wants to run up here. Look at her. She's like, I'm ready. I'm ready. Congratulations. And then to the graduates, I'm just going to keep saying congratulations. What a momentous accomplishment. And in such trying times, with all the things that you're working on, both personally and professionally, to do this as well of all the challenges that are going on right now, congratulations. And I'd like to give you just a little story. I don't know if you know, but I live in senior housing across from the DX, and we have what is called a spirit rock, which gets painted. And we don't tell people to paint it. People just go and paint it because it's a spirit rock. And the spirit rock, if you've gone by our houses over the last couple of months, has had a Halloween theme. It had a pumpkin on there that actually the Reef Court members painted. And I was just the other day driving out of my neighborhood or out of the street, And I was thinking, oh, we're a little past Halloween, so I'm really hoping that someone goes and paints that rock soon, because I don't want to make people have to do that, but it was getting a little old. And so that very day, I came back for lunch, and there were some folks out there painting the rock. So I stopped, and I was like, hey, thank you so much for painting the rock. Where are you from? And you know, what are you painting it? And it was graduates. So are any of you sitting there that actually painted it? No, we have quite a few graduates. Oh, right, I see somebody
Stand up, sir.
in the back. Yay! But it really, it may seem like a small thing, but it shows the pride and the dedication that you have in what you accomplish to go out there. And I will tell you that painting that rock is no easy feat. You probably know. They stopped and said, well, it's really windy out, and we don't know if it's going to stick. And I was like, okay, well, this might not be so great when I come back, but we'll see. And when I came back, it looks really good. So if you haven't seen it, there's a great big old shark on there, and it says CCAF, and congratulations for doing that. But it just, to me, it was just a small token of what you can achieve when you want to achieve it, and it was really great. So once again, we ask for excellence in all you do, and education is part of that, and receiving this degree is part of that, but your education isn't going to stop here. I learn something new every day, and every time I have received a degree, I thought, well, that was the last one, and nope, I'm still learning, I'm still getting degrees, and that will continue throughout your entire career. So congratulations, and I won't say on this small step, on this very big step, both personally and professionally. So once again, let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you, Colonel Walton. We would like to thank the Base Education Center for their tremendous support in helping these members reach this milestone. The Space Coast Top 3 for coordinating today's ceremony, and to the Kaiser University for the refreshments you can take home following the event.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party and our graduates.